What's going on, guys? Welcome back to today's episode. Back on the C10. Let's try and get this thing kind of wrapped up. I made a list of what we need to get done. Doesn't look too bad yet, but that's before I get a chance to actually dive into some things. It's kind of just a generic list of what I need to get done. I'm going to try and move pretty fast today. Obviously, we've got a lot of work to do. I pulled the intake manifold off already, as you've seen in the last video. So I have it over here on my other bench. I need to make the return lines off the back of the fuel rail and the feed line to the fuel pressure regulator. So I need to get that done. But without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Well, first things first here, I need to make this fuel lines here with this bracket. It's a little Y, going to be our feed into the rail. So this is going to come from the tank in, and then to, passenger side, driver's side of the fuel rail. Obviously it's going to go kind of one here to there, one there to there, and then these two lines obviously go to our fuel rail or fuel pressure regulator, and then there'll be another line that'll come off of that. Go back to the fuel tank. So I'm going to get started making this line. Got some fittings. I think I have some all black fittings I'm going to use. So I'm going to make these, get these made up, and then hopefully get this intake manifold back on here just in a few minutes. But it's going to take a couple minutes for me to make these lines. So let's get started. Alright guys, and just like that, our two lines made. Hopefully they're not super long. It's going to be a little longer than I want it to be, but I don't think it'll be horrible because it'll give us a lot of clearance in other ways. So take a little finagling to get things kind of lined up the way I want it. Oh, and if you guys are making these lines at home, remember, always blow them out before you start mounting things. Obviously, I did before I started putting these things on. You didn't see that, but I did, I promise. That's one of the big things. Make sure you get all the gunk out of everything. When you cut these lines, you want to make sure you get all the, they're not clean to start with, so just doing a little bit of some brake cleaning, some shop air, will save you a headache when you're assembling all this back together and you got injectors at the side they're sticking, or fuel filters that plug up, or things like that when you get debris that goes inside of here. So perfect, that's all set, just like that. Now I got that line. Now I'm just gonna make this line here, which I'm just gonna put this on the end of another one, on a big chunk of line, and then run it down the back side of the engine. And then I'm going to put I'm just basically going to take this with all this extra hose, and then run it down the way I want it. Yeah, this intake manifold now can go back on. got our turbo feed lines in here. It's all tight now. Started running the fuel lines. Got to see fuel lines here. To go over here, I have to do some hold downs for it. That's kind of the next thing too there. And then we'll have our fuel tank on this side. But I have to get the new fuel tank put in. So I have to get the new fuel tank swapped because this one's the old one. When I thought it was gonna work, but my dad noticed, yeah, there's a hole. So got a new fuel tank for it. I got to move the hat over and the straps. So then that'll be over here, and then reroute some of the turbo feed lines to both turbos, and get this starter put in here. It's kind of hard to see, but gotta get starter put in for it. So let's jump back into it. Check it out. New gas tank is all put together. Sending units in it. Wiring is here, obviously. I will have to do some, make this connector fit that truck, but it's in. Don't worry, I reuse the old fuel tank straps. I don't know that this tank is going to stay in it for how long it's going to stay in it, because I do plan on putting probably a fuel cell in it eventually. But for right now, to get it running, get it on the road, kind of get all the what do you want to call it, all the bugs worked out of the truck, because any new build, that anybody that has ever built something knows that the first time you drive it, usually you have something that happens. No matter how good you are, no matter what you do, precautions you take, there's always something that's going to come up, right? There's always going to be something that stops you from, having it already, right? So I got the fuel tank done. I did get the turbo drain lines in, which you've seen over here. Just got them, made a little brackets, these little brackets here. Feeds are in, drains have been done though, so those are in, that's done. So, and then I got the fuel lines, the feed and return from the tank are sitting there. They're just kind of resting. The return is actually all tight and ready to go, but the feed to the fuel rails still needs to be attached. Obviously there's no intake, so we're going to put that on right now, but we are making some really, really good progress on the truck today. So I'm super stoked, because literally all I gotta do is put a starter in it, oil, some fuel. Make spark plug wires, that's the biggest thing, I guess. And all tranny cooler lines, because obviously you can't start something. You don't want to start your transmission dry. We could, but it's got a brand new 4L80 in it, so I really don't want to do that. So we're not going to do that. So I've got to make tranny cooler lines still, mount the transmission cooler, and obviously some other things. So we're going down this list, and we're making progress today, guys. So let's keep going. Let's get back to it, because I need to get that intake put back in here, and then keep going. So let's get to it. just seen, just finished up putting the fuel tank in. So fuel tank's in, the fuel lines are ran to the tank. I got the harness off the fuel sending unit, just kind of dangling over the frame rail for right now, because I still have to run this wire down there for the Holly to turn the fuel pump on. So got to do that, but we got all of our wastegate vacuum lines and our drain lines for the turbos. Also got our blow-off valve lines done. I got our coils mounted again. Don't worry, I will have something done with these coil relocation brackets. I'm gonna have them sent out or painted at some point, but I really want to do a test of concept or proof of concept that everything's going to work and everything's going to run before I go and send those out to get powder coated or some whatever I decide to have done with that. But I got that in. We got the transmission dipstick done. That is a wrong one for right now, but it'll work, so I can put a little fluid in it, at least to get the truck started. But back to making these spark plug wires. I did decide that we are going to go kind of all the way around and back down. The only reason I do that is because on this side, 3 of these will go into their own holes, but this 4th one will have to go in this hole, and that would put 2 wires into one spot. I don't like how that's going to look cosmetically, because on this side will be easy. These will all go in their place. They'll be able to be out of the way. But as far as making everything look symmetrical, because that's my thing, you know, I want everything to have a straight line, everything to look, you know, kind of the same, kind of mirror it both sides. That's going to be the way I'm going to have to do that. So I'm going to get started on making these spark plug wires. I just got a ICT billet LS spark plug kit from Jegs. So got to crimp these, make my lengths, and then put them back on, or then mount them to the truck. And we're getting closer and closer. So that's like the last of the big things to fabricate, other than a bunch of wiring, because I still got to wire starter, alternator. The Holly still has to get powers and all that stuff. I got to do a battery relocation, because I'm not going to leave the battery there, because I think it looks ugly and it's really, really close against this turbo. And if we were ever to have a battery acid issue, obviously we're going to use a yellow top or some sort of dry battery, but a backfire and it comes and hits the battery, I don't want to have that be an issue. So we're gonna move the battery to down along the frame rail on the passenger side, kind of offset the weight a little bit too for the fuel tank, because the fuel tank's going to be on that side, or on the driver's side, rather than for that reason. So we're going to put the battery on this frame rail on this side, so that just so like again, so it just offsets a little bit. Obviously it's not going to be perfect, I know that. 20 gallons of gas or 15 gallons of gas on the driver's side, and me sitting in the truck's not going to be offset by a 10-pound Optima battery, so to be honest here. But obviously I want to try and do as much weight balance as I can. But let's get to making these spark plug wires, because that's like the last, probably all the time I'm going to have in this video to finish is that, unless for some reason I get them done really, really quick and I can start on something else, but that's probably where we're going to end it. But I want to get these done tonight before I get out of here, so let's get to it. they worked. They worked. I was a little skeptical because yeah, it's still rather tight here on both sides. I'm actually going to remake this pipe and actually pull this side here further that way, so the bend is going to be more, instead of it being like the 45 goes kind of inward, it's going to go more straight. Old design, obviously, before I decided to make these brackets, but lots of things we can check off the list this week. Lots of things that we can check off the list. I mean, spark plug wires are on, fuel tanks in, fuel lines are done, all the vacuum lines are all ran except for the booster. I still have to figure out a smaller booster for this side, because where this pipe goes, it actually contacts the booster. So we got to fix that, or I got to fix that, or make arrangements. I think I know they make a smaller booster. I don't want to go too small, and I don't want to go to a Hydro Boost. I know a lot of people go to a Hydro Boost from like a 2500 newer Chevy pickup. I still want to keep the factory style brake booster in there, because then I don't have to remake brake lines. I don't have to do a different style of power steering pump that's obviously not on there yet, but I don't want to have to convert everything over to it, even though it would be nicer. I just want to make it simple, and vacuum brake boosters are very simple. Either they work or they don't, so that's kind of where I'm at with that. Still got to make a drive shaft and a couple other things for things like that for the rest of the truck. But as far as this thing being about ready to run and at least idle here in the shop, we are super close. Unfortunately, I just ran out of time this week to get things done before Monday comes back and we get back to our regular scheduled work. So, but I'm pumped, guys. We're close. We're there. We are there. Like, I mean, literally, I just need to wire the starter up, and we can at least crank it and hear it fire up. Unfortunately, though, I got to get out of here. I've got stuff I got to get done tonight. So I'm going to end this one off here. Stay tuned for the next episode, because literally, we're there, guys. We're at the point where I've literally got to do some wiring, and we can at least hear it fire. Obviously, we can't drive it yet, but I still have a lot of things coming for this truck, a lot of brackets and things like that we'll have to make. Everything, obviously, get rid of this stock radiator because it doesn't have the right ends, but little things like that we got to work through. And obviously, I wasn't going to order parts until I was at the point where I needed them. So that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one, and stay tuned, guys.